Okay, gentlemen, oil results are in and let's go through them. So this might be a little bit of a long-winded video on the results and also my opinion and theory behind this. I know there's a lot of controversy. People seem to be on the religious side of what oils they use and what the OEM recommends and all that stuff. So we'll go over a little bit of everything on that. So let's get started. So this oil analysis was super late. If you guys are following or subscribed, you guys will probably know why. I sent this in the recommended way through USPS. USPS seems to have lost the package and even, contacted me back saying if we want a refund, if I want a refund for the amount of the package or anything. I never bothered. I contacted Blackstone, let them know what was going on. They said as soon as they would get it, knowing the situation, that they would rush it through the process and skip the line, if they ever get it. I got a phone call a couple days ago from Blackstone saying, "Hey, we got it. We're gonna rush it through. Stay tuned." So Blackstone Labs, their customer service is absolutely amazing. I really appreciate that from them, especially as this was a bit of a frustrating situation for me because I know a lot of you guys were waiting for the results. I thought they were lost, and then eventually they did show up. So, what oil is used here? And I don't know how good the text on the screen is going to show up or not, so I'm going to do my best to explain most of it and go through this whole report. So the oil used on my truck. So my truck is a 3-liter Duramax LM2, and I am using Shell Rotella T6 5W-30. This is a non-DexosD approved oil. We'll talk a little bit more about that in probably about the end of this video. Oil, okay, so climate. My truck lives in a pretty warm climate. I live in Central Florida. I travel to South Florida and sometimes North Florida. My truck never sees sub-zero temperatures. Now, in the 6,000 miles that this oil was used in, my truck, 80% of what my truck does is 2 to 3 mile one-way trips to the gym and back. I work remotely, so it's not like I have to travel to work. So this was a good test to see if there's any fuel dilution due to the short trips or anything like that, or even the cold starts, because a lot of the times my truck doesn't get to a very hot operating temperature. The coolant gets to an operating temperature by the time I get to the gym, but the oil usually doesn't. So I really was curious to see what was going on with all that. Now, I do travel about 500 miles once every 3 weeks. And also included in this trip is a 700-mile road trip to and back from Florida to Tennessee, where it was the temperature was a little bit cooler, but nothing extreme. So the coolest weather this oil has ever seen is probably probably high 20 degrees. So nothing near sub-zero. Right now in Florida, it is February 22nd, and we're seeing 87 and 90-degree weather in Central Florida. So very warm climate is where I live to. I'm going through that basically to explain something later on in the video. So let's go over the summary. I'm going to read it. I don't know how good this is going to show up on my phone, so I'm going to read what the summary was. Alejandro. Universal averages for the 3-liter Duramax engine show typical wear accumulation over a 6,400 mile of use. Wear metals are a good bit lower in this sample after a similar amount of use, so the internal parts are wearing exceptionally well. That, of course, reflects positively on this T6, which maintain normal physical properties. Silicone is noteworthy as a potential marker of dirt, but it would be hard to achieve such low wear with an abrasive circulating. So silicone likely has a harmless source. The TBN is fine at 4.5. They recommend to try the next oil change at 8,000 miles. So I spoke with Blackstone. They only can, no matter how good the oil is, they usually only recommend 2,000 mile increments. So for example, if I would have submitted this oil with 5,000 miles, which is where I usually do my oil changes, their highest recommendation would have been 7,000 miles. Let's say if I would have submitted this oil at 8,000 miles and the oil was still as good as it shows on the report, their next recommendation would be 10,000 miles. So if you guys are really into extended oil intervals, which I am not, this is the most the truck has ever been on an oil interval, then, and you guys are testing, then you guys are going to have to go test at 2,000 mile increment increases. So I am going to continue to change my oil at 5,000 miles. It's easy enough for me to do. It doesn't bother me. It's not a big cost for me. So this 6,000 mile oil change was just a test to see how things were in a more quote unquote extreme interval for me personally. So results. I'm gonna scroll here. I'm probably gonna expand this so people can see as best as possible. So I'm gonna scroll here slowly for anybody that wants to see the results. And actually, let me adjust this camera a little bit because I see part of my gimbal maybe. I guess. I just want to get everything there. So let me shrink it. Okay, so I think that's probably the best view that we can get there. And again, guys, if this doesn't look ideal, I'm doing this with the phone on a computer, so bear with me. So for the most part, this shows all the results from my oil analysis. Okay, so I'll leave that on there. So if you guys want to compare stuff, I think the contamination from that we got here is because this time when I did the oil change, I put the truck on the ramps elevating the front. Unfortunately, GM has a really shitty oil pan design where it kind of holds a puddle of sediment right near the oil plug. You guys that do your own oil changes probably know exactly what I'm talking about. I know PPE has a revised oil pan that holds more oil and has that area revised so it doesn't hold any sediment on that near the drain plug area. And I think by doing the oil change with the truck in the front elevated actually helped drain some of that area, and that's probably where the high silicone came from. Either that or I must have touched it with some dirty gloves. I was trying to be careful, so I don't know exactly where that dirt could have came from, but I will do another test in the future. Probably not this next oil change, but probably in about 10 or 15,000 miles I will do another change. I did switch to a different oil. Still 5W-30 diesel oil, non-DexosD, but not Shell Rotella. I'm just doing a test. I think I like what I'm seeing with the current oil that I'm using now. So, let's see where we're at here. So, in my professional opinion, I have been in the automotive industry for quite a while. I've worked on supercars, worked for one of the largest engine remanufacturing companies in the country that ships OEM remanufactured engines to dealers. I've also been a contractor for most major manufacturers handling some recalls. I get to hear a little bit of the dirty secrets of the engineering side of things. Unfortunately, due to the substance of a lot of that, I cannot give too many details, but I will give you a quick overview of what happens. So a lot of the times when a manufacturer recommends oil nowadays, it's highly fuel economy related. So oils haven't changed too much in the last 10 years in regards of lubrication wise. After '08, oils really started changing to appealing to the emission side of things and after treatment side of things. So just like fuels that went from low sulfur to ultra low sulfur, oils have been doing the same thing. Going from what fuel used to be to E85 and uh, similar changes to that. So in '08, we got changes in oils, reducing zinc and a lot of the other metals due to DPFs. And all the oil changes after 2012 are mostly fuel economy related, more than emissions related. So this engine is a German and Italian designed engine. It is built for GM, but any Euro spec oil should work perfect. If you guys, get the latest ISEA specification oils, for example, right now I'm using Euro L. It's, BMW certified. It's Mercedes-Benz certified. It's Opel. If it's Opel certified, you have no worries. It's going to work fine on the vehicle as long as it's a diesel oil that's low to medium ash. You guys are not going to have any problems. Now, this is my opinion on the matter. I am not recommending, anybody to follow what I am doing. I'm just giving you the thoughts and theories behind, my professional opinion and, what I'm doing with my truck. So, engineers. A lot of people like to harp on, well, the engineer uh chose this oil to work on the truck, and this is the oil that should be used. Yeah, absolutely. The engineer did approve that oil to work on the truck, but it's not how you guys are thinking that works. So a lot of the time, the engine is built and designed, and then GM will say, hey, I want this oil to work on this truck. I'm trying to squeeze the most out of the most fuel economy out of this truck possible. That could be a 1%, a 2% difference compared to something, let's say, like 5W-30, which is what I'm running. And a lot of the times, the engineers have to work within those boundaries. They're going to get, for example, 20 engines. They're going to torture test them with 0W20, and then GM is going to want a report from them and says, like, hey, do these engines last with this oil? If everything is good, the engineer is going to say, yep, these engines last, or we lost, one engine out of 20 or 50 engines for this or that reason. But either way, it was out of warranty period. So a lot of the times what you guys are seeing, it's not the best oil for the engine, but it's the best oil under the constraints that the engineers are given. So they want to maximize fuel economy every single percent. So they're nickeling and diming that engine. Will they sacrifice a little bit of durability when selecting some of these oils for fuel economy, better CAFE standards compared to the competition? Better fuel mileage against the competition, all that stuff. Absolutely, they will do that. That's something that most people don't really realize, and if you think about it, it's how the whole engine, how the whole truck is built. It's not the best parts that they can put on the vehicle. If they wanted to put the best parts on the vehicle would be a lot more expensive. It would last a lot longer, but that's not what the manufacturer is interested in. The manufacturer is interested in selling vehicles and selling a lot of them. So a lot of the times, the engineers, under a constraint of is it good enough, not is it the best option for that vehicle. So that's a point of view that a lot of people, I feel, don't really understand behind the analytics of building a vehicle and what the manufacturer is looking for. The LM2, the LZ0 don't have anything special in them, metallurgy wise. They don't have any special coatings. They don't have any special rubber. The belt, that the oil pump is absolutely nothing ridiculously special that it requires a special oil. Done tons of research on this. There's just no proof on this. So what is DexosD? DexosD is just a 520 version of the 5W-30 Dexos 2 engine oil. It's just thinner. It's just supposed to be more efficient. Now, is anybody supposed to or going to have any problems running 0W20 DexosD? Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is that DexosD being a 0W20 is more, and I'm going to give here a couple comparisons. It's more of a, oh, sorry about that, guys. My dog's barking. Let me close this door. So DexosD is more of an all-terrain tire. So it's made to work, or not an all-terrain tire. It's more of an all-season tire. So it's made to work in Alaska. It's made to work in Canada, as well as it's made to work in Florida, Texas, Australia, and very warm climates. So it's going to work well in every environment. So that's your all-season tire. But if you want, let's say, a more of a performance tire with more grip, or in the oils world, it would be, a little bit more cushion or a little bit more shear strength, then you would step it up to a 5W-30. Obviously, in sub-zero temperatures, 5W-30 isn't going to work as well as 0W-20. So if you live in a very cold climate, I would highly not recommend you going up to a thicker oil. Can you run it in the summer where it's warmer? Yeah, absolutely. It's not going to harm anything. But in the winter, if you're running, below 20 degrees, I'm definitely not gonna run 5W-30. I would just change back to what the OE recommends. So some people may be into that. If you're into colder climates, changing your oil viscosity, depending on the temperature of the season that you're in. Again, guys, to me, it's not a big deal. I'm in a warm climate year round. It doesn't affect me, so this is the perfect. So me running a 0W20 would have absolutely no benefits of the zero part. I don't need that extra cold, thin cold flow of oil due to really cold temperatures. More of what I need is a little bit more shear strength. The temperature, as the temperature goes up, viscosity goes down. So it would make more sense for me to run a 5W-30 during my temperature. Now, manufacturers used to recommend quite a bit, multiple grades of oils depending on temperature. The way things are going with EPA and trying to get every ounce of fuel economy out of the vehicles lately, they're trying to eliminate those thicker oil options out of the user manuals. Just so they can meet higher standards of fuel economy in case somebody uses one of those oils. Another comparison I can do for you guys is, for example, if you guys are into guns, you buy a good AR-15, for example, all the parts are gonna come mil-spec. They're overgassed to work on every environment. They got a little bit more tolerances to work on every environment. But if you want to fine tune that gun, you're gonna fine tune that gas system. You're gonna buy better parts that are better than mil spec, better than what the manufacturer recommends, with better tolerances for what the desired outcome is. So I think guns, tires are a good analogy. An all-season tire is not going to work as good as a specific competition tire or an off-road tire or anything like that. So just another way to look at it, because I think a lot of people get lost in translation of what I'm doing here. So DexosD. So DexosD is just what I said. It's a label that GM puts on a lot of companies that are willing to pay royalty for them. That just means, hey, this oil meets GM's approval. Now, it doesn't mean that there's not a crap ton of oils there that are the same or better specifications as DexosD. But if they're not willing to pay GM for that label on the bottle, which is a royalty, that doesn't mean that the oil is bad. So if you guys look at any modern diesel oil, should work on this truck. Any medium to low ash diesel oil, especially if it's like the latest European specs, you should have absolutely no problem running this oil. I remember seeing in the group somebody was asking about a European type oil. Said Opel certified. Opel is the same thing, is the same company that designed the engine. So it's just a German version of GM. Opel and GM separated in 2017. So don't get caught up on the DexosD label too much. So conclusion to all this, what I am doing here is not a recommendation for anybody to do. I'm not telling anybody to change their oil. I'm just giving you a little bit of the facts, a little bit of the theory behind at least some of my industry opinion on what's going on. At the end of the day, this is my truck, my channel, my risk, my experience. I am not going to warranty your vehicle if it breaks. So whatever you guys do at your own risk. It's been working out for me. I've been doing this for over 25,000 miles on this specific vehicle. So no issues. Everything is working as good as it could be. As to manufacturer recommendations, this is something that's come up. Hey, Bank said this. That company said that. Those companies, a lot of the times, for example, banks, they're in bed with GM. They're not gonna go against a GM recommendation. Banks purchases a crap ton of Duramax vehicles. They produce the military vehicles for the U.S. government. They're not gonna go against it. They're not gonna recommend against manufacturer warranty. No big company is gonna do that. I can do that because I'm just one asshole on YouTube that's from the industry. But a big company is not going to open up themselves for any type of liability like that. Now, the information is out there for you guys to make the best decision available to you guys. I did make a video of me going through bearing clearances, engine operating temperatures for the engine oil temp. So if you guys want to see that video, please check that out. And that's about it. If you guys have any questions at all on anything that I cover, feel free to ask. I'm an open book. Follow me. I get a lot of questions, requests through Instagram. My Instagram is at CarbonProAT4. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Give me a follow. Give me a like. Give me a comment, either good or bad, whatever you guys want to say. If you guys want to say I'm an idiot, don't know what I'm talking about, hey, that's fine too. It all helps me out, so I'll take the criticism. So that's it, guys. I hope everybody has a good day. I hope everybody has found this information helpful, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you, everyone.